Hey, you're listening to Words About Books, where every month we pick a book for our little book club. It's not really a book club anymore. It's more of like an endurance challenge where we seem to pick books that the other one hates for some reason. I'm Nate, and every December I try to pick a book that's easier to digest. And last year I picked Haru in the Sea of Stories. This year I'm going with Nothing to See Here, which is our topic for today. And I am, of course, joined by co-host Ben, who I owe an apology to live on air. I'm sorry there wasn't enough human misery, sexual assault, and baby eating for your tastes. My bad, man.
I don't know. The attempted murder-suicide really scratched that itch, I guess. Nice Christmas book there.
Was it enough? I feel like that's not enough for you.
I would have liked more arson, and I would have liked to at least...
That's fair.
I would have liked to at least see one guy melt like that Nazi from Indiana Jones. But...
I have just the guy in mind, actually.
Is it the senator?
The Secretary of State.
Oh yeah, that's
surprisingly,
right.
Surprisingly, he's a horrible garbage human being. I know that's shocking that a senator or a Secretary of State would be anything but a model citizen, but there you are.
I was going to say the theme of this book is really unconditional love for one's children or even one's adopted children. But if I ever
unconditional love for your friend, because your friend will stab you.
We'll get there. What I was going to say is the only thing that could ever make me stop loving my child is if they told me they were going into politics.
That's fair. Oh, well, that's unfortunate that my child just died and you just shut the door in their face.
I want to be a Republican congressman. Well...
I fucked up.
Boy, I was really hoping you were on drugs. Okay. So do you want to talk about Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson?
Yeah, quick about the author. Kevin Wilson is an American football coach and former player who currently serves as the offensive coordinator at Ohio State University.
This is the wrong...
I'm fucking with you.
I was going to say, this is the wrong Kevin Wilson.
No, I didn't do a whole lot of research because, I hate reading, as we've established on this podcast. I think that's pretty obvious. But I did see he published 2 collections and 3 books. He published an anthology and a novel 2009 to 2011, and then his next book didn't come out until 2017. And I'd be interested in knowing why that was, but I can't be bothered to ask.
I was going to say,
also, he's an associate professor.
Inverse Volume 2 coming.
To be okay, that's really mean to Kevin Wilson to compare Edenverse to him.
I will say, yeah, he's a better writer than us, but
I
was going to say that's the lowest bar you could put. That bar is just rolling down the street.
All right, so that's all I have about the author, Ben. I didn't do much research, and I'm not gonna.
I did one specific bit of research. This is the only thing I looked up about the author.
Maybe Kevin Wilson can tweet at us.
Please don't. We can... The one specific thing I looked up about the author is, was he a women's basketball coach? And I was shocked to find out that the answer was no. Because for a hot minute, I thought this was just fan fiction about 2 girls on his basketball team or something. Because women's basketball features a ton in this book. And I think I did look it up, and I did find out that he doesn't have anything to do with women's basketball himself, but I think he had good friends who were on women's basketball teams and were actually pretty dang good at it. And I think that's where that influence comes from, because there's more basketball in this book than you might think. It's 25% a sports book. Would you like me to give my best summary for you?
Yeah, Ben has decided instead of doing an in-depth summary, Ben is going to do a short summary, and then we're going to talk about certain things from the book. So, yeah, go for it. You got this. Hey, Future Nate here. Just want to let you know, he does not. This is a pretty standard
All right,
summary.
this is off the top of my head. I haven't written anything down.
Also, Ben finished the book today, and I think he started it yesterday. So.
I finished the book, texted Nate that we could record tonight, took a walk, came back, got on the mic. So, this is what I remember. All right, imagine you're dirt poor, right? Everything in your life sucks. You work real hard, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, as it were. Get into a fancy private school. Also, you're a girl, that's important. And you get into a fancy private school and you meet this roommate who's like super hot and you have a huge crush on her.
Super hot.
Yeah. And she's weird. She's got like this flat emotional affect. She needs to pretend to experience human emotions, but everybody loves her and you love her. And then time goes on, right? And you guys get along, you're best friends, you spoon at night, which is confusing at first. Now there is kind of some romantic tension here. I'm not just making that up.
No, this is legitimate.
Yeah.
I'll correct you if you're wildly off base, but this is all accurate.
Yeah. So then one day that girl, well, it's more than one day, but one day she gets caught with her cocaine. She does cocaine.
A pound of coke,
and,
like Tim Allen.
And she's not unlike Tim Allen. And then you get invited out to dinner with her family, and your piece of shit mom comes with you. And you don't put together what's about to happen, but
that's funny because piece of shit mom is how I referred to her in the script. Go on.
So, and your mom is just a total narc, by the way. She's the worst kind of person. She's not only like trash, but she's also a narc. She rats anyone out for any amount of money. And you get invited to this dinner, and that's when your crazy girlfriend, her dad is like, hey, my daughter is too important to get kicked out of school for cocaine. So I'm going to need you to take the fall for that. This will ruin your life. I understand that. But
I don't care.
I'm prepared to compensate you fairly for a life-ruining crime. I have in
what was that?
I have in my pocket a check for $10,000.
And it's important to note, he's rich.
He's filthy fucking rich. And
$10,000, he blows his nose on that every morning.
This
throws it
dinner,
in the fireplace.
This dinner cost like $500. So your piece of shit mom doesn't even try to haggle. She's like, yep, she'll do it. She takes that 10 grand check.
And she doesn't even go with the idea of takes the check, cashes it, and then says like, yeah, don't actually do that. I just took this guy's money. We beat the system.
Yeah. So then you say it was your coke and you get kicked out of school and your life's ruined. Everything goes to shit. But for some reason, because you're like head over heels for this girl, you keep exchanging letters and you become pen pals. And she keeps inviting you out to visit her, but like her dad ruined your life. So no. And
well, where does she invite her to?
I think she invites her to her home, presumably where her father lives.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was her home
with the senator.
Yeah, no, go on.
She probably does eventually invite her, but so
I wanted you to say her palatial estate.
I wasn't going to say that. I don't even know what palatial means. That's how poor I am, I guess. So
I assume it means like palace-like, right?
Oh, that's a good call.
So all right, they're pen pals.
Right.
Where are we going?
So speaking of douchey ways to say things, she keeps telling you about her life and how great it is and how she got into that college she wanted to get into. And she's marrying some guy, which is probably hurtful because she knows you have a huge crush on her.
Yeah, she's very aware of that fact.
Oh, I forgot one thing. You both play real good basketball. I forgot that.
Very important.
It's a very important part of the story, but you both play basketball super well. Neither of you ever does anything with it, but you will continue to bring up your glory days like a former high school quarterback, but it's not sad because you're girls.
Oh, they'll do something with it one time.
No, they won't. Well, yeah, okay, they'll do. I'm getting to that. So one day, she needs your help. She invites you out with a job opportunity. She doesn't say what the job is. You need to come out and meet her. And you find out the job is to take care of the senator's children from former marriage. Now, what happened here is she's married to this senator, right? And this senator is in something of a Rosemary Kennedy situation. He has kids who have some kind of sickness or disability, and he hides them. He hides them from the world like the piece of shit all politicians are.
Okay, but don't leave out the mother figure here and how he cheated on her with some mistress and then presumably cheated on his mistress with the friend.
Yeah. So this senator, it's implied, has these kids. These kids have this condition, and he ships them off with the mom, who he slowly drives insane, and she then abuses the children, making the whole situation worse. Now, she's dead, and these children who have some mysterious condition and are abused are your problem. Not because you're qualified in any way to deal with it, but because you can keep a secret, as established by your $10,000 silence on the cocaine matter. And this time, she's offering way more than $10,000. We never actually find out how much, but she got a really big house.
This is her reward. Remember, kids, you f*** yourself over for someone else. Maybe someday they'll pay you back.
And none of the classism that is rampant through this is ever discussed. The moral of the story is that hang around rich people long enough and maybe some of it rubs off.
Trickle down economics.
Yeah, they never question why the senator is so filthy fucking rich, and the fact that he doesn't work for it or deserve it, or, I mean, he didn't buy this on a senator's salary, you know? Something's going on here. And
independently wealthy and or some people from a very lucrative lobby told him what to think.
Yeah. So you're going to get these kids, and these kids are going to come live with you in the converted slave quarters on this former plantation.
Is that what it really is?
That's what she calls them.
Oh my God. I didn't remember that.
It's turned into a house, but she calls it the slave quarters. They live on a former plantation. And it's just this house that's off-site.
Oh God.
So
that changes a few things, but okay. All right.
You get the kids, and the condition the kids have is they burst into flames when they're upset. So
by the way, no take-backsies. You already accepted the job.
Yep, we're going to be great friends. We're just going to be such great friends. And the whole time this girl is manipulating you, not just financially, but romantically. She knows you're into her, and she just keeps dangling that. She just keeps, like, putting her hand on your arm and telling you nice things. And there's another kid now. She has a kid, too. So there's 2 kids by the previous marriage, 1 kid by this marriage. You're only responsible for the 2 problem kids, though, and you just got to keep them out of sight and keep them out of trouble, because Senator Husband's up for a promotion to Secretary of State. Also, Senator Husband doesn't know shit about policy, and his wife does everything. She does all the thinking. Nate, I'm just going to go ahead and say she is a loose analog for Hillary Clinton. She just is Hillary Clinton. In so many ways.
Think about that.
Yeah. In so many, she reminded me a lot of Hillary Clinton, both in her likability and that she does all the work for her husband.
So what you're saying is she will eventually get within a stone's throw of the White House, only to fail spectacularly.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, I guess I should say she'll get within a stone's throw on multiple occasions and fail over and over again.
Yeah, and the problem every time is going to be the American people slowly know her too well to like her anymore. So, see, it's not just dunking on Republicans. I got some Democrats I don't like. So,
I've got just politicians in general.
oh yeah. For the record, this guy is a Democrat. I still think he's a piece of shit in the book.
Is he really a Democrat?
He is. He says, well, and he
I
kind
thought
of
that he was quoting one of the famous presidents or whatever.
no, he kind of undermines it because he says his family have been Democrats basically since the inception of the party, which isn't a good thing either.
No.
So, for our non-American listeners, the Democrats used to be the racist ones, and then it flipped. Now they're just both. Now they're both lukewarm racists, with Republicans being a little bit more openly embracing it. So that's
Only
my
slightly.
that's my American politics thing
yeah.
for you. So
Lewis Black said it best. The Republicans are a party of bad ideas. The Democrats are a party of no ideas. Welcome to hell, man.
yep. So you get the kids, they light on fire, but they're nice kids, and just. This part of the story then becomes just every movie you've ever seen where a person who didn't want kids or never thought about kids finds themselves taking care of kids, and then they slowly grow to like kids. Well, these kids at least. And then towards the end of the movie, there's going to be some event where it's time to give the kids up, but they don't want to give the kids up anymore. And the heartwarming conclusion is going to be that the kids get to stay with them forever. Now,
These kids are cool as
I do like the kids. The kids are solid, especially Bessie.
Yeah. The kids are probably my favorite characters. And main character, I guess should we use names?
The main character is Lillian. Hillary Clinton is, starts with an M, Madison. And the senator is Jasper. And
then they've got two minor characters. I just want to special mention to Carl and Mary. Mary was cool as shit. She just casually steals some silverware and leaves when the big climax happens. And Carl gradually becomes less of a horrible garbage person.
I never hated Carl. The two side characters are okay.
Yeah. But not really super important. So, yeah, this is the middle of the book where they start to like each other, and the fire twist they only catch on fire like 3 times, I think.
Essentially, you can just forget that they catch on fire until the very end. They're kids, okay? And that's the point, right? They're kids, and the fire, I don't know what the fire is a metaphor for. The fire is a metaphor for a ton of things. I'm not an English teacher. I'm not qualified to wildly speculate on what authors meant, but
we're gonna
at least a little, because I think the fire is a metaphor for how difficult it is to raise kids. The fire is a metaphor for, like I said, like the Rosemary Kennedy situation where a politician has a kid with a disability and they think it's going to hold them back, so they hide them from the public eye. Basically, the fire is just a way to create drama in the story, because these kids can't control their outbursts, and so they might...
Yeah, they're kids.
Yeah, and so they might embarrass the senator.
Yeah, when they get overwhelmed, I guess we should mention that's how the fire happens. When they get overwhelmed, they have a meltdown, and that outward anxiety and anger and frustration manifests as literal, actual fire.
Yeah, and they're going to get overwhelmed a lot. I guess I'll briefly take a detour into how their mother died, because we're kind of at that point of the book.
We're at that human misery point of the book.
Their mother was increasingly isolated and relatively impoverished. She was still rich by any normal standards, but not as rich, so that was hard for her. And she eventually decided, well, I'm done. I'm going to kill myself and kill the kids. So she gets a bunch of pills out. She tells the kids to take some pills. She takes some pills herself. the kids are smart enough to not take the pills, and then they watch their mom die, and then they walk outside and they light a bunch of shit on fire. That basically never comes up again.
It's the conclusion to Head Full of Ghosts.
Yeah.
Except then they just they move on from it.
Yeah,
And
it's literally the conclusion to Head Full of Ghosts, one of my favorite horror novels we've ever covered on this podcast, and it's put in this light comedy about kids who light on fire.
yeah. It was definitely whiplash, because they follow that up with I actually do want to learn math. Just out right now. Cause this all came up because Lillian was trying to teach them math, and she was like, well, Mom never taught us math because she thought it was for idiots or whatever. And now you're going to think I'm an idiot. And then they start getting all hot, and then they're like, and here's how Mom killed herself. And yeah, okay, I guess I want to learn math. It's just like...
Well, and keeping in mind, nobody told Lillian, the governess, that the mom committed suicide, let alone in front of the children. And Senator...
Did they know? I guess they probably did.
They obviously knew. Yeah, they did, because Madison mentions it when he's being vetted to be Secretary of State, that they were worried about the suicide because it was suspicious.
Oh.
And the senator doesn't believe in therapy.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I read that, and I think my note was, F this guy.
Yeah.
I think it's designed to make you say, F this guy.
You're not...
Seriously?
So this is one of the problems I have with the book, and that is I cannot emphasize enough how unlikable both Madison and... What's his name? Jasper. Sorry, that's just one of those names that just does not stick with me. I think that's the guy in Twilight, right?
Yeah.
So Madison and Jasper are super unlikable. Madison a little more likable, but not much. Madison hasn't killed anyone that we know of.
Right.
Again, it's like a Hillary Clinton thing.
I was going to say that exact thing. There's going to be some sort of conspiracy in this.
I don't think she killed anyone, but at the same time, if I found out she did, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, obviously, she didn't kill anyone.
No, not with her bare hands, but
yeah, she didn't pull the trigger. Someone underneath her did,
So, Jasper
sucks.
and
garbage.
Madison has a few redeeming qualities, but Jasper is just painted as being mentally and emotionally weak.
Hey, I'm a pretty lousy president.
And he's just kind of a whiny, spoiled, pampered rich boy who has too much power.
He does cry at the children.
And,
you ruined my life. Ah.
Yeah, which he's saying to a child whose mom died in front of them largely because of this man. And It's my problem with that is just keep a pin in all this, because
Tell you what, Dad. How about you give me a cool $10,000?
Yeah, make it all go away.
Make it all go away.
Okay. Put a pin in that, because at this point in the book, I texted Nate, who read faster than me, and I said, does this guy get it in the end? Because if not...
Kinda.
Yeah, and the answer is no.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
He gets very little comeuppance, but he ends up getting what he wants in the end.
He gets everything he wanted, and he deals with basically no consequences.
Yeah, it would have been nice if, the house were actually completely destroyed. At least that would have been something.
It's like Wilson forgot that the mom killed herself in front of the kids.
Well, to be fair, if you read the book, everyone else does too, so...
Well, and that's the fucked up thing. It's everyone but Lillian and the kids forgot, but that's still a very fresh trauma for those kids. I don't know. There was what is the tone? I'm a little lost now. But anyway, we're moving on.
It was whiplash. That's what it was. The tone is comedy, but for a brief moment, we're going to crash into this tree, and you're going to violently whiplash into tragedy, and then we're getting right back on that comedy train, buddy.
So Madison, the girl you're in love with, challenges you to a game of one-on-one in front of the kids. And now the two fire starters are there, and the normie. I didn't talk much about normie kid. I think his name's Timothy.
Hey, it's future Nate and future Ben. Ben, what are we doing here?
We're here because as I was approving the Nothing to See Here episode, I noticed you added an editor's note that I wanted to take an opportunity to respond to, and it started a whole big Slack conversation, and we figured we might as well just get back on the mic and add this to the podcast. So here we are. I wanted to call it a Words About Books footnote, but you said you just jam it in.
I'm just going to jam it right in there.
So hopefully this is a seamless transition.
Yeah, they're never going to realize this was edited later and recorded later. Forget that first part about how I said it was future Nate, future Ben. So, hey, what's Normie Kid, and why does it make me think of Carlton Banks?
Well, okay. So the first question I have for you is, do you think Timothy is actually supposed to be a depiction of neurodivergence, or is he just supposed to be weird?
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I thought for sure that he was supposed to be autistic because he has difficulty communicating, and he has that weird thing with his stuffed animals.
I agree that
but
if he
now
were
I'm wondering
evaluated,
if he's just a...
I was going to say, I agree. Like if he were a real person and a real person was exhibiting those symptoms, it merits an evaluation. I just wonder if the author intended that. Maybe, maybe not. I honestly can't tell. I called him Normie Kid because I'd say up until the halfway, maybe the 2/3 point of the book, he's kind of presented as like just a weird stick in the mud. Like he's strange and fastidious and keeps to himself, but he winds up being very sympathetic. So I called him Normie Kid mainly because in relation to the two fire kids, he is normal, and his normalness is what makes him valuable. Everybody loves and praises him for being normal. But like,
I think everyone loves and praises him for being a conformist.
yeah.
So they go, hey, you're going to come downstairs, you're going to sit at the table, and you're going to not talk and just eat the cereal. Like, you're going to be seen, not heard, and sometimes not even seen.
Like Carlton Banks.
That is, Carlton Banks, sir, is very, very vocal and very seen.
I think this is more just you identify with Carlton Banks and you take umbrage with my Normie Kid stuff.
I don't think he's a normal kid.
Well, no,
I think if you want to compare him to two people who light on fire when they get angry, I guess most people are considered normal when compared to that.
Well, he's normal. I mean, he's not normal, I guess, if anybody took 2 seconds to care about him. But he impressed himself upon me as the normal one. And I didn't know he was going to get any more development when I labeled him Normie Kid. Now, obviously, we will see as the story goes on. Spoilers for the rest of the podcast. I have no idea where this gets inserted. But as we will see when the story goes on, he has a lot more in common with his siblings than we thought.
Oh, my God.
But there's one thing that I kind of rolled my eyes at. And this is why I don't know... It's Madison. It's always Madison. It's all about Madison. I don't know how I feel about Madison's big speech about how she knows that Timothy is weird, and she has always told everybody that she's going to let him be weird, like she's going to indulge it, and she's not going to take that from him like they took that from her.
I don't believe you, Madison. I don't believe you one bit.
Well, I think what they're trying to say is like Madison and Timothy are similar in that Madison also had this weird communication thing. Not a lot of people liked her, and she had to make a conscious effort to present herself in a way other than her authentic self to everybody except Lillian. Lillian was the only one who ever got to know the real Madison. And
Who is also kind of an abusive dick.
Yeah, that was the thing. And then Madison repaid Lillian for that by framing her for cocaine possession, a felony, and then brought her in to raise her husband's bastard children. But that's okay. I will concede that characterizing Timothy as normie kid is unfair to Timothy, as he is a complex person with a lot of unique traits. But that's what they wanted me to think about Timothy.
Checkmate, Ben. Yeah, and I don't know if his parents realize that.
This was set in the 90s.
Oh. How did I miss that?
Yes.
How did I miss that?
It's set in 95.
I thought this was modern time. Okay.
That's why they don't know what the internet, or that's why she barely knows how to use the internet, and they go to the library.
Oh my god, that makes sense. Because I know, I highlighted that line. Yeah, I knew the internet existed, and it was in her mansion. I'm like, yeah, I also know the internet exists. Like, everyone else in the entire world knows the internet exists. What are you talking about? This makes a lot of sense. Oh, all right. Oops. So that also makes a lot of sense for how the ending kind of plays out.
Yep. So
God. Okay.
Yeah, that's I guess an important detail. So there's a basketball game. All the kids are watching, and it's like watching your mom's fight, because normie kid wants, Madison to win, and the two fire starters want Lillian to win. Madison's tall. She's real big, and she's super fit. And so Lillian's at a bit of a disadvantage here, and they're going like shot for shot. Nobody can get a lead. And then right when Madison, or right when Lillian is about to score the winning point, Madison elbows her in the face. Total foul. Everybody sees it. The kids see it. Madison realizes she did it. Like, she didn't even mean to. It's implied that she was always a cheater when she started to lose. She would just start throwing elbows.
I just really wanted to win.
It's an accident, right? Oh, it's an accident. She tells everybody it's an accident. She tells the kids it's an accident. She tells Lillian it's an accident.
It's still a foul.
No,
I don't know much about basketball. I should, but I don't.
Well,
but I'm pretty sure you can't just tell the ref, like, I didn't mean to take him out.
And then she offers, okay, there's two kinds of like fouls though, because like this was not implied to be like they both went up for the shot, and as she was moving her elbows out to take.
No, she straight up took. She did some MMA.
Yeah, she cocked back and elbowed her in the face.
Yes. Yeah, she decided to mix some martial arts into basketball.
She did a little Krav Maga basketball there. So
and she's really nice. She offers her the foul like a nice person.
Yeah, but she makes it sound like, I'll give you a foul if you're really taking it that hard. If you're really going to take this accident that hard.
Yeah.
And
it was just an accident. You can't take a joke, man.
This is doubly problematic to me because they're all so quasi-romantically involved. Like, the only reason Lillian is still here is because she's got it bad for Madison. That's the only reason she maintained contact all these years. And Madison started this basketball game. And when Madison starts to lose, she elbows Lillian in the face so hard that Lillian has a black eye for a week that cannot be covered with makeup. And I don't know, like, Madison is just straight up emotionally and physically abusive.
And financially. Don't forget that. She got 3 levels of abuse here.
Yeah. So
at least.
Nothing will happen to Madison either. She also gets everything she wants. She's, like I said, she's got more redeeming characteristics, but she's still a very, very bad person.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of comeuppance for anyone,
No,
really.
we don't.
None of the really shitty characters get their comeuppance.
Yeah, we don't ever really reckon with. Nobody goes on an emotional journey in this book. Like Lillian is relatively pure of heart from the beginning. She's just kind of stuck in a rut. The kids are relatively pure of heart from the beginning, and they don't really take any kind of journey to get over their trauma. They're just like, "Are you going to leave us? No.
You're
Okay,
our
we're
new
over
mommy.
it." Yep.
All right.
It's like ducklings. They just latch on. So, yeah, skip ahead. Guy gets nominated to be to be the Secretary of State. And that's when shit really kicks off. And that's when they're like, okay, this is the whole chain of events that's going to lead to, we're going to send the kids to a farm upstate.
Yeah, let's call it what it is. A gulag.
Yep.
A camp.
And so Lillian is struggling about what to do with the kids. The kids know it's coming too. And they're just sort of trying to bide their time and hope they can convince them to do something else. And at the guy's inauguration ceremony as Secretary of State.
Oh wait, no, it did start as a farm, and then after this, it becomes like we're sending him to the gulags.
So at the
So yeah, okay, nomination time.
Yeah, at the inauguration, normie kid bursts into flames. He's got it too. And this is doubly important because one of the reasons the mom and the kids are so isolated is because the senator has insisted that whatever this disease is that causes the fire, it's genetic and it's on the mom's side.
Yep.
And now we know it's on his side because these kids are born of two different women. So, kid bursts into flames. It turns into a whole big thing, but Madison is very politically savvy and she's able to put a lid on all of it. And
yep, she pays some hush money to some people. She maybe hires an assassin or two to...
She has a charity that she abuses. What about her emails, Nate?
Well, she has internet in that house.
She has internet in that house. She probably has an email server in that house she shouldn't be using. The whole thing explodes when Lillian and the kids find out that he is not only planning to send the twins up
to the gulag.
To the gulag.
It changed from a happy farm to like, yeah, it's a more intensive program where they'll be worked to death, comrade.
Yeah. He's also going to send Normie Kid too. And that's when Madison's like, okay,
Normie Kid will go to a slightly nicer place.
No, he's going to the same place, but for 6 months.
Oh, I thought he was... Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he said it's going to be for a temporary evaluation. But it's not going to be temporary.
No.
So
you'll never see or hear from those kids again.
So that's when Madison is like, okay. It is one thing to send some other woman's children to the gulag.
Right.
But you will not be sending my Timothy to the gulag. Not on my watch. And that's when the twins...
I think Timothy is probably the only person that Madison actually cares about.
I think that's definitely fair to say. And so then the twins are like, you know what? Enough of this shit. Flame on. And they start burning down the house. Literally.
You ruined my life, you horrible, rotten kid.
Yeah, and then Bessie is just like, you ruined our lives. Uno reverse. and yeah, they start burning down the house. Chaos ensues. Carl picks a side finally, and he's like, take my car, get the hell out of here. Don't tell me where you're going. And she takes off. Lillian takes off with the twins. Madison takes off with Timothy. And Carl rushes the senator, now a Secretary of State, out of his burning house. Yada, yada, yada. Lillian...
She returns to her shitty mom.
She returns to her shitty mom who
sells her out for...
Narcs immediately for $1,000. She's only getting cheaper. And yeah, so Madison has basically talked to the senator and informed him that, she can ruin him if he doesn't do exactly what she wants. And what she wants is to give the twins to Lillian, and she's going to keep Timothy, and she's going to stay with the senator because on the whole, he's actually not that bad of a guy. And being with him gets her everything she wants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wish I could fast
I
forward
don't ever
her.
feel like she loves him
If
on
I
any
could just,
real level.
if I could just show Madison the 2016 election, I could. It's not going to work out the way you think, Madison. Just get rid of him. Just get rid of him.
Also, the 2008 election where she fails to get the primary.
And so she's going to stay with him. So this guy gets to keep his wife, keep his kid, get rid of the 2 kids he didn't want in the first place, and be Secretary of State. And Lillian...
And he got some minor fire damage to his house that insurance will probably cover.
Yeah, and Lillian now gets to raise 2 kids that don't belong to her. But it's okay because she loves them.
Yeah, Madison actually asks at some point, why does it have to be me and I want to say Joffrey. He might as well be Joffrey.
Jasper.
Why does it have to be me and Jasper raising these kids? And Lillian's like, because they're his kids. Like, what do you mean? Why does it have to be you?
Well, she's like, why can't somebody take care of these kids? Why do you have to ship them off to boarding schools and various prison camps? And and Madison's like, it doesn't matter who takes care of them as long as they're well taken care of. Why does it have to be me? I got into this marriage for political gain, okay? I didn't get into...
She also, when Lillian and Madison are finally having their heart-to-heart, their little confrontation that doesn't really go anywhere, unfortunately, she wants a little bit of closure. She basically wants Madison to admit, like, I'm sorry I fucked your life up. My dad basically sold you out, and I would have been fine getting expelled from this school. Like, first of all, she comes off as almost not even believing Lillian when she's like, yeah, your dad paid, like, you were there. You were at that dinner. Your dad paid $10,000 to my mom, my shitty mom, who narked on me. And Madison's like, okay, yeah, sure. And then when it's all coming down, like, I just want you to say it. I just want you to say that you're sorry. She shrugs at her. And that's it. And I wonder if Lillian loved Madison, not just like, yeah, okay, fine, she's hot, but I wonder if she loved Madison because Madison was the first and possibly only person to have ever shown kindness to her.
No,
Which is
I think there's
stated.
something to that, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just cap off the story by saying the ending is a happy ending because Lillian gets to keep the kids whom she loves and they love her, and Senator Jasper has to bankroll the whole endeavor, so they're all rich. And the moral of the story truly was, hang around wealthy people and maybe it'll rub off. The end.
What a happy ending. Anyway, buy us a coffee at...
So I got to give the summary this time, so I put a very sarcastic spin on everything. But you genuinely liked the book.
Yeah, I like the book. I think a lot of that had to do with the writing. He's a very good writer.
Yeah.
I think that I was with the book until the end. And the end was like she wanted to go sit next to her mom and be like, Mom, why did you never love me? Why did you drag me down to this misery? Like, what's going on? And she didn't. And then, yeah, like you said, Jasper gets very little comeuppance. Very tiny little, almost nothing. Very insignificant to him. And Madison basically gets everything she wants. And it's like... What I keep saying to you is this feels like the first season of a TV series, and like they've laid the groundwork. There's going to be a big blow off in a future season, but oh, by the way, there aren't going to be any more seasons. That's the end.
I'd go so far
It
as to
left
say he wants this to be a TV series or a movie, and that's why he wrote the book. Little cynical of me, perhaps.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I left with like I wasn't super substantive. Like it was a fun read. I liked a lot of the characters. I hated some of the obviously I hated Jasper. I liked a lot of the characters. I liked the humor, the wit, the writing was really well done, and I left feeling like I really needed way more to have a satisfying like conclusion to that. There's a feeling of like it's incomplete as is, and like you said, Jasper not getting a comeuppance. You've built this guy up to be a horrible bastard, and the story is very schmaltzy. It's almost like good and evil in a way. I don't know if I want to go that far, but it's like something should happen to him, right? Something should happen to her mom, right?
There's two things the book's constantly like balancing, and that is the realism and the schmaltz. And I agree with you that he's a good writer, but I want to be a little bit more specific. He writes pretty prose. He writes well. His writing has a rhythm to it. There are a lot of quotable little observations that made my eyes roll, but I'm sure like the Oprah book clubbers out there love. Like, here's an example.
Oh, I've got a few.
It made me think that wealth, as of course I already knew without firsthand experience, could normalize just about anything.
Maybe that's what children were. A desperate need that opened you up even if you didn't want it.
This was how you did it, how you raised children. You built them a house that was impervious to danger, and then you gave them every single thing they could ever want, no matter how impossible. You read to them at night. Why couldn't people figure this out?
And I knew a secret to caring for someone. Had learned it just this moment. You took care of people by not letting them know how badly you wanted your life to be different.
I don't have enough boobs to hold up that dress. I had no boobs at all, which I'd appreciated when I was growing up, and then in high school I got sad about it, and then I stopped caring again. He has his ups and downs. But
here's one more that caught my eye. Maybe raising children was just giving them the things that you loved most in the world and hoping that they love them too. And my response is, I'm going to be so disappointed when my daughter likes reading books.
One more. Oh, I highlighted one that nobody else highlighted, because you know in Kindle you get to see like the highlight things.
Right.
Like you get to see like 3,000 people highlighted this, which is ridiculous, by the way. I highlighted a wicked child was the most beautiful thing in the world. Nobody else highlighted that. I was like, huh. So my problem is a lot of the writing is bloated by this stuff. Like, I would say the kids don't even show up until like over a quarter of the way through the book. And none of the plot threads that are introduced, except the ultimate fate of the children, are resolved. He's not interested in writing plot. He's interested in delivering these poetic observations of child rearing, family life, wealth, but he never explores any of those things. And so I think he's a good writer in that, like, he uses language very well.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'd give him a good writer in that he can construct a story really well. Because this is a short book, like you said. It wouldn't be hard to add another 50 to 100 pages that wraps everything up.
And then Lillian and the kids burned Jasper alive and hit Madison with a car. Not enough to kill her, but just to break a couple bones, let her know, like, we're coming for you if you don't cut your shit out.
Well, like, it would be super easy to say that Jasper, like, Madison divorces Jasper, takes the kid, takes a lot of the money, she's the political brains behind the operation. He quickly loses his Secretary of State position. She gets his old senator spot. And that Lillian's story is resolved pretty well, but, like, Lillian never gets anything she wanted.
Maybe she finally gets to hit that. I don't know.
Like
just at least, like, once, right?
Well, it's like, we don't know, because he never tells us what Madison's true feelings towards Lillian are. Madison, one of the things Lillian wants Madison to tell her is, do you love me too? Because Madison,
right?
Like,
yeah,
Lillian
she does
literally
the Han Solo
says,
thing. Lillian's like, I love you. And she's like, I know.
Yeah. And it's like,
that's happened to me, by the way, in real life. It's not fun.
I was going to say, was it super hot like it was in Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, no, we did not end up making out before she got frozen in carbonite, unfortunately.
To me, if Madison, it seems like Lillian isn't sure if Madison is straight, because Madison only ever gets with guys. And
right.
If you would think, if Madison were straight, if it were that simple, like, I'm just not, I can't love you in that way. If it were that simple, she would just say it. She could just
say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she doesn't say it. And
why you gotta give me blue balls or whatever the female equivalent of that is?
Just locks up like Fort Knox. But why do you, like, that made me think that Madison does have feelings for Lillian, because Madison, instead of saying that's just not possible, she says, and what kind of future would that be? Like, if we got together, we'd just lose everything.
Well, first of all, you would divorce this guy and get half of his assets.
Right.
Actually, you could probably squeeze even more, because you're the brains behind the operation. You can be like, I'm gonna actually just live in this house with my quote unquote friend. You're gonna bankroll it, or else, like, I'm taking you out.
Well, right, but
I know where your skeletons are buried, Bill. I mean, Jasper.
But that's essentially what she says to her. She doesn't say, I don't love you, or I can't love you the way you want me to. She says, essentially, it's 1995, Lillian. I can't have a political career and be in a lesbian relationship.
Yeah, I wasn't super
But she doesn't
sure.
say that either. She just kind of leaves it vague.
She shrugs at her, and that's it.
And
that's why I said I left feeling empty, because I was like, oh, they're going to have the dramatic blow-off, because like you said, this is very dramatic. I feel like that way. And I'm like, thank God we're going to address this issue between, like, hey, your dad kind of ruined my life, and I love you. What are we going to do about that? And then what she does is nothing, and we just move on.
One of the things...
Season 2, baby!
Well, you're right, because that would be a good Season 2 thing, because one of the things Lillian needs is... Like, one of the things Lillian wants is Madison. And I know, like, the basics of writing, you don't give your characters what they want, you give them what they need. And what Lillian needed was
that ass.
She needed human connection. She needed a purpose. She needed family. She gets that from the children, but she also has this complicated relationship with Madison where are they in love or aren't they?
I thought that there was going to be a move towards that when Madison's child also caught on fire.
Yeah, because...
And Jasper was like, we're going to send him to the camp too.
Well, and because it leaves it on a cliffhanger, essentially, like... It seems like Madison never makes a clean break with Lillian, because that would have been a fine ending too. If Madison just simply said to Lillian, no, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, sorry, I can't love you the way that you love me because I'm into dudes, ? I'm into political connections.
Yeah, well, or just she says, I value my career more highly than I value any romantic relationship. And gay marriage is not legal in the United States at this point in time.
And also, we're in Tennessee. I was
Yeah.
just throwing that one out there.
Yeah, so it's just not going to work out. It's going to be a few decades before. Well, it's another Hillary Clinton thing. Hillary Clinton voted against gay marriage. She was a Democrat. I don't know. You could cut that. But yeah, that was one of the things I would
Yeah,
have
but I
liked to
never
see.
got the feeling that Hillary Clinton loved women.
Did you not?
I do not think she's really capable of love.
Well,
I always got like a robotic.
That's Madison.
Yeah.
That's Madison. I'm not saying Hillary doesn't love Chelsea, but she's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know she don't love
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah. Bill was a means to an end.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like I do have like that's just a book theory of like this, like Madison is Hillary Clinton. But yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I've been sarcastic about this one. If it were a TV show, I would watch it. Because
Yeah, I probably would too.
I like the characters.
As long as they promised me a second fucking season with some blow off.
That's the thing. So much of this novel is treading water. Like, dude, seriously, there were George R.R. Martin-esque descriptions of food. And it's like, he was a couple, like 50 to 100 more pages would be enough to round out all the plot lines. And I think he was honestly struggling to get to novel length because there is filler. There is filler in this 250 page novel when there needed to be plot.
Yeah, again, give me an ending. If
Yeah.
you gave me an ending, you could cut some filler. You could still have a 250-page novel, but I would leave feeling satisfied. Whereas, again, I was with the book right until the end, and I was like, oh, like I expected that when the kids started going after the mansion, and Madison ran away, and Lillian ran away, and like I thought there'd be more to it, and like the Secretary of State would get his comeuppance, but he didn't.
Now,
The end.
if there ever is an adaptation of this, I will need
Make an ending.
No, I will need Momo to do an animation of whoever plays Bessie going into Avatar The Last Airbender Agni Kai with Jasper and taking back her inheritance and becoming the Fire Lord.
And then I guess Roland will go and burn Nakara to the ground.
I feel like Roland's just going to be getting high in a van.
Roland does.
Roland-
Roland is a pretty chill dude.
Yeah, Roland's just there to have fun. Like, when they start doing basketball, like, Bessie picks up basketball really quick, and that makes Lillian all proud because, like, her daughter is taken after her. And Roland tries to play basketball, and he sucks at it. But, like, he's just happy to be included. He's like sitting on the sidelines. He's like, that was an excellent shot. And he like tries to dribble the ball and smacks himself in the face. And like, I don't like basketball, but I like that we're all having fun.
Yeah.
And Roland even warms up to Timothy. And Timothy is going to murder them all one day. Can we talk about Timothy's stuffed animal game real quick?
Again, that's why I'm like, I think he's on the spectrum
Timothy,
because he's weird.
Timothy-
he's a little strange.
he's got a bunch of stuffed animals. And he lines them up. This is the only game he plays. This is the only thing he does. He lines up all his stuffed animals every day and picks the best one.
And they all have names.
They all have names. And now it varies day to day. So when Lillian tries to play this game, she picks a stuffed animal and he thinks about it. And he's like, okay, he's the best one today. And then Madison comes in and she's like, oh, is that like Petey the Panda? And she's like, yeah, he's the best one. And then the kid corrects her, today. He's the best one today. You're just like, all right, you little psychopath. Like, if I walked in and Timothy was wearing somebody's face over his face, I'm mentally preparing myself for that.
We just hope it's Jasper. Will
Now that Timothy has
congratulate him.
fire powers, I am actually a little scared.
You know, I think that Timothy can be wrangled and controlled by his evil, oppressive mother.
Well, and, you know, the funny thing is, like, one of the things Lillian asks Madison is like, what are you going to do if they find out that your kid has this firepower? And she's like, I don't know, maybe I'll just tell them the truth. Kid spontaneously combusts. Doesn't burn. I don't know. It's like, yeah, why? It does call into question, like, why is this a secret? Like, okay. We've had myths.
Did embarrass him.
Does it? Would it?
You know it's more embarrassing? The fact that your ex killed herself after you cheated on her and drove her and the kids away from you.
Yeah.
That's a little more embarrassing, in my opinion. But I'm not a senator or a secretary of state, so, you know.
You're not going to hell?
Yeah. I was about to ask, do you think fire burns them? Like, obviously their fire does not. But, like, when they're not in rage mode, can you put a flame to them and they're just, like, impervious?
No, I think they're Targaryens. I don't think they burn.
Oh, my God.
Here's another example of what I'm talking about, of the, like, bloat of the book a little bit, is there is a lot of time dedicated to the ways they're going to get the kids to control the flame. And they've got two physical means of restraining the flame. This stuntman fire gel that makes your skin so it doesn't burn for a few minutes. And then there's these like race car suits that don't burn. So the idea being that the race car suit would contain the flame, and the gel would also keep the flame from coming out of their skin and manifesting. Neither of which is ever used. Like, they use it, but it never is shown to work because the kids don't have episodes when they're using the stuff.
Yeah, they only catch on fire, I think, 3 times in the book. When they first come to the house, at the end, and in between those two events when they talk about their mother.
Yeah. Well, and then it is
maybe
shown...
when they first meet Lillian
as
their grandparents.
This is another one where the metaphor of the fire gets a little weirder. I wasn't quite sure what he was going for here, though I'm sure there is a metaphor. Bessie demonstrates that she can control the fire. I thought they were going to eventually do something like that, because in stories like this, when you have a thing that makes you different, the obvious low-hanging fruit is the thing that makes you different is actually the thing that makes you special.
Oh my God!
Yeah, right? And so I thought at first with the fire gel and the fire suits, they were going to try to like cure these kids of their flame. And then eventually they were going to realize, no, that would be taking something away from them. That would be taking away like their birthright, their freedom. And I thought that was going to be the conflict. I thought the senator was going to try to cure the children, and Lillian was going to have to convince him that that would be wrong.
Well, they do go to see a quack doctor who's really discreet,
which has no point and only exists to fill pages.
It doesn't go anywhere.
No, literally, if you cut that out of the book, nothing would change. That was purely there to pad the page length. This was a novella or short story idea he had that he spun out into a novel. But yeah, I don't know if I have any more questions or concerns. Do you have any other talking points you want?
I think that's it. There's 12 chapters, and what? Of those 12 chapters, like 8 are important, maybe?
If you want to find us on Twitter, you can do that at WABpod. If you want to find us on Instagram, you could do that at Words About Books Podcast, probably.
I'm sorry, what? That's correct. I was just like, you said it in a way that you don't know what you're talking about.
I made it, but I forget it. Yeah, you can find us on Twitter at WABpod. You can find us on Instagram at Words About Books Podcast. You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/wordsaboutbooks. And if you are so inclined and you would like to support this show financially, you could buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/WABpod. I think I got them all.
I think you did.
Blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja.
Okay. Anything else? I think you got him.
What are we doing the rest of the month? I'm also asking for me.
Yeah, so we're doing Boneyard Soup. That was the week before this, though, so that should already be uploaded.
Okay,
And,
good.
and then we're doing another thing, and then we're doing a end of the season retrospective.
What's the other thing?
The other thing is Thing. Don't worry about it.
What are we doing? What's it about?
Don't worry about it. It's cool.
Does it involve previous
I can
words?
neither confirm nor deny anything that you're about to ask.
Does it involve previous words about book stuff? Should I wear a hat?
This is where I'm putting the outro music.
Does it have anything to do with an author who hates us? I was going to say, I don't know how you want to structure this episode, but I feel like I could summarize the book in 2 minutes.
But Joseph Stalin told his son that he had to shape up or he was going to go get another child, and that child would be a well-behaved child.
I think we talked about that, and that was like one of Stalin's more reasonable conversations.
We didn't talk about this in the podcast proper. Madison's like, I fixed everything, Lillian. And Lillian's like, no, you didn't. And she's like, well, I made it a little better. Bye.
And in the end, maybe that's what raising children is. You build them an imperfect house that's a little bit better than no house at all. And you give them some of what they maybe wanted, and you hang up the phone and go back to work. Why do so many people struggle with this? Hillary Clinton's an evil robot sent back in time to try to prevent Barack Obama from saving the world.